LeBron James and his future in the NBA. Hope you enjoy. On Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2026, LeBron James walked off an NBA court for possibly the final time. The Los Angeles Lakers had just been swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder to improve their record to 8-0 in the postseason and cement themselves as the overwhelming favourites to ultimately win the championship. The 41-year-old James sat down at his interview and began answering questions. Asked about what's left for him in the NBA, LeBron said, "I don't know what the future holds for me." LeBron Ramon James, born on the 30th of December 1984 in Akron, Ohio, is one of, if not the greatest NBA player of all time. He is the holder of a staggering 40 records, if not more. Some of his more famous accolades include the most points scored, most minutes logged, most games played, most seasons played, most All-NBA selections, most All-Star selections, and most career wins. He also has won 4 championships with 3 different teams, also a record, and was named Finals MVP for all of them. He is a billionaire. He is 41 years old. His son, Bronny, who was also on the Lakers, and they've played together, on the same court, in the playoffs. So why should LeBron keep playing? Does LeBron still have more to prove, or will he hang up the shoes after an illustrious 23-year career? To help answer this question, I reached out to some experts about their opinion. These 3 people are assistant coach of the Canterbury Rams, Ben Sheet, and Christ College students and ball knowers Eli Coles and Reagan Chang. Unfortunately, Ben Sheet was not available for a voice recording, so I have Noah Lee reading out his answers. My first question was, do you think LeBron will retire in the off-season, and why?
I don't think he will. I reckon he will do one more season and have a farewell year like Kobe. Both MJ and Kobe did this, and I think the Lakers are actually close to winning, so hope he does one more season.
I feel like he won't retire in the off-season because he is still putting up some good numbers and he hasn't referenced anything, and he'll probably want to wait at least a little bit to see what his other son can accomplish and spend more time with his son and enjoy his time in the NBA. I just feel like this isn't the last we're going to see.
I do not think that LeBron will retire because he still has a couple years left in him because he's the GOAT. And especially if he can carry a team to the first round of the playoffs against the Houston Rockets, I think he can still play another year.
Some good answers there. My second question was, if LeBron continues to play, what more does he have to play for?
Continued greatness on being the player who has sustained his playing level for so long, finishing his legacy and potentially getting one more championship to finish.
I feel like he needs to play for... he doesn't really need to play for anything, honestly. He could... if he won another ring, it would probably make him undisputed GOAT. He could just extend and show what he can do at his right age and just play more with his son to help develop. I don't know what more he can prove. He can't really win any more accolades at his old age.
Nothing. But what better does he have to do? His life is ball. Yeah, he's already the GOAT.
My third and final question was, if LeBron retired today, do you believe he is the GOAT of basketball? Why or why not?
This is a tough one. The difference between MJ and LeBron, who are the 2 arguments, are quite different. LeBron has played for 8 seasons more and has sustained success the whole time. He has played while basketball has globalised and one of the top sports in the world, touching every nation, whereas Michael came through it as easier. LeBron has always been a winner and never an underdog, which I think it harder to sustain the success like he has. With that, I'd say LeBron is the greatest ever and hope we get one more season to watch him say.
I don't believe he's the GOAT because of the greatness of Michael Jordan, but I think that he he has a case for it, and if he can maybe do something interesting in this next year that he plays, if he plays another year, then maybe he has a run at it. But right now I think that Michael Jordan is the GOAT.
Yes, because he had to go against the super team of Golden State, and he still got to the finals most years. He's just really good at basketball. And I think he still has 4 rings, even though that was the Golden State super team, and he has 4 MVPs, and he has the most career points. He's top 5 in assists, top 5 in rebounds or something. It's crazy. 23 years in the NBA. I think he's the GOAT.
Thank you for your time and opinions. In conclusion, LeBron James has a big decision ahead of him. Does he stay in Los Angeles and try and make a deeper playoff run than this year? Does he potentially play at Madison Square Garden, where he has always wanted to play during his career, and join the New York Knicks, who are in the finals and are major contenders for years to come? Does he test his luck in free agency? Or finally announce his retirement after 1,622 games played? All of these questions will be answered at the end of the US summer. For now, all we can do is wait and see what the King decides to do.
And I'm doing an investigation about e-scooter safety in Christchurch.
Today I'm going to be talking to you about e-scooter safety. Hi, I'm Davey. I'm a student at Christ College, and today's podcast is about e-scooter safety. E-scooters have been growing as a transport option, but high numbers of accidents makes them one of the least safe ways to travel. I tried to get an interview with some of the e-scooter brands like Lime and Flamingo, but they both said they were unavailable to take part in an in-person or phone interview. But they were happy to answer my questions via email. I asked them, why do you think so many young people are getting injured on e-scooters? Flamingo says a large number of injuries are linked to rider behaviour rather than their faults with the Lime scooters themselves. Common causes include riding too fast or carrying passengers. I also asked Flamingo, do you think the 18 plus age rule is properly enforced? They said Flamingo has systems in place requiring them to confirm they are over 18 before using the service, and accounts are linked to their personal mobile number and payment method. Where misuse is identified, accounts are suspended until valid ID can be verified. Well, that's what Flamingo says, but what do you think? I know from talking to others that it's easy to work around age restriction on e-scooter apps. There is an RNZ article that says the percentage of individuals using e-scooters under the age of 25 is projected to grow from 31% in 2020 to 46% in 2026. This shows that there are lots of younger people riding e-scooters. Why do young people like e-scooters? Let's talk to a young rider and see what he says. Here's Eli DeBoer Duggan, and he likes riding his e-scooter. Why do you think people like e-scooters?
Cause they're like, I don't know, they're cheapish and like fun.
Thanks. What do you think about e-scooter safety?
Like if it's like really fast, you might wanna like wear a helmet or something.
Do you wear a helmet riding?
Nah.
Thanks, Eli. That's what Eli thinks, but do you think it should be illegal to ride without a helmet? Lime says they use geoforcing to slow people down in busy areas and no-go zones like golf courses, gardens, rivers, and some parks. I also have an excerpt from Lime's written response.
We also actively monitor rider behaviour and have systems in place that can help detect unsafe riding practices, such as burnouts or reckless use of scooters. Reports from members of the public are also taken seriously. When unsafe behaviour is identified, we may contact the rider directly to discuss the issue and remind them of our terms of service and safety expectations. Continued unsafe behaviour may result in fines, suspensions, or permanent account bans.
Okay, that all sounds like riding an e-scooter should be safe. However, let's talk to someone who had a different experience. This is Jim from Christchurch. I hear that you have crashed on your Lime scooter. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, I was lime scootering home from a rugby league game a year and a half ago, and hit some loose gravel and slid out and landed on my face. It did a bit of damage to my face. I had 50 stitches in my mouth and nose.
Oh, that sounded really bad. What did your recovery look like?
So I went home to bed and then woke up the next day and then wasn't very happy when she saw me and took me into A&E. So we spent the day at A&E and I got x-rays and assessed by the doctors, and they pulled some stones out of my gum because it pulled my lip off my jaw a bit. And then they put 50 stitches inside my lip to stitch it back to my chin, and 25 stitches there and then 25 stitches around my lips and on my nose. Had a few sessions at the concussion clinic, but luckily no concussion issues, just a bit of healing stuff to wait for the stitches to be good enough that they could be taken out. So I was on a liquid diet for about 2 weeks, so no solid food, just up and go.
Yeah.
And then I got the stitches out, and slowly, I've still got numb lips on the left side of my face, but pretty good, I guess, really. I've got surgery next Monday to fix my nose because it got all smashed up.
Yeah.
And blocked my airway, so I don't breathe through my nose very well at the moment, but after next Monday, that'll be fixed. Yeah, so quite a long recovery, really.
Yeah, that sounds really bad. What do you think about e-scooter safety?
I probably cringe a wee bit when I see people turning down the street on e-scooters without helmets on now. I do realise how bad they are and easy they are to crash and how bad it is to crash them.
Yeah. Do you let your teenage boys ride e-scooters?
I don't think they do, but I guess I can't really control it. They're out there. I'd probably rather they didn't, and if they did, they'd wear helmets.
There's no obvious answer to these problems. It's not like a yes or no answer. And that's kind of the point of the story. Like Jim's accident, they force you to weigh your risk against convenience. E-scooters are genuinely useful and fun, and most of the time, completely fine. But the evidence shows that they also come with real risk of injury, most likely falling, sudden stops, hitting uneven ground. So little things matter, like when you're putting 3 people on a Lime scooter just to get to another Lime scooter. which is actually one of the most common causes of accidents because it becomes really hard to handle and control. At the same time, a key detail is that most of the riders don't get hit, but when something does go wrong, it can happen fast and without much warning.
I've been doing an investigation about electrodipping, and here's what I've researched. Hello, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for taking your time up for me today. Hello, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for taking your time up for me today. I am here to interview you about electrodipping, and I will be asking you a few questions about the business, like estimated sale pricings and how many shops you have. Are there different... Hello, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm really looking forward to learning more about electrodipping. I will be asking you a few questions about the business. What do you think about hydro-dipping? Do you think it's safe and good for the animals or not?
Yes, it is safe and good for the animals as it's protecting them from things like fly strike and things like that, keeping them safe and alive and healthy.
Do you have a hydro-dip in your farm? Is it a thing that's worth buying or is it not?
No, we don't have one, but I've seen them used on other farms and they are efficient.
What do you have to keep your animals from not getting fly?
We have two 1,000 litre gallon drums that have a pump on them that we can spray with a hose.
Oh yes. Do you think they are hard to assemble dipping machines, or do you have one that is built into the ground?
From the one that I've used, it's just come off a trailer like a conveyor belt, but then on the end of it there's just a sprayer thing that detects when they go through and sprays them, so it's quite an easy setup.
What kind of parasites are we targeting when we dip the sheep?
Flies, maggots, those kind of animals, keeping them the animals that eat them alive when they get into their wool and infect them.
Do you know the estimate price of how much an electrodip costs?
No, I don't.
Oh good. Thank you for letting me interview you today.
Is there any need for me?
Now I will be interviewing the owner of Electrodip Australia and New Zealand. Now I come to interview him now.
To the skin and is out there by the fleas. We do not recommend doing this in freezing temperatures as the sheep would end up with hypothermia. It's usual to jet it just in the summertime anyway.
Do you have a electrodip on your farm, and is it a thing that is worth buying or is it not?
We do not own a farm, but we did used to. But there are over 1,300 owners of an electrodip in NZ and other 1,200 around the world. They are worth buying because it saves a lot of money in chemical usage. It uses less chemical than our other machines on the market, and in labour costs it is also quick to put them through the machine.
Oh, that's good. Do you think they're hard to assemble dipping machines, or do you have one that is built into the ground?
The electrode dip comes assembled. It is just a matter of putting it on the wheels. This makes it easier to wheel onto a trailer. It also means you can jet out in the paddocks where the sheep are, so you don't have to bring them into the yards each time. The pits in the ground are not considered safe for sheep these days, as you need to dunk their heads, which means that some chemical can go down their throat. Also, you are using the same chemical each time a mob of sheep go through the ground pit, so the chemical becomes dirty, which can affect open wounds and become less effective with each mob. The electrode dip only uses fresh chemical each time. It jets and only goes on the skin and is effective with each sheep.
What kind of parasites are we targeting when we dip the sheep?
The main parasites targeted in NZ and Australia are blowfly and lice. In the UK, they also use the machine for blue tongue and scab mite.
Thank you for letting me interview you today.
That's right.
I'll be interviewing Chris Peacock about electrodips in New Zealand. Here we have Chris Peacock. I'll be asking him a few questions about the topic. What do you think about hydro dipping? Do you think it is safe and good for the animals or not?
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe for the animals, as long as, because, well, pretty much, it's only gone into the skin, it's not going into the bloodline or into the mouse or anything. Pretty good. Just goes onto the wool and just helps keep all those bad stuff away. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you have a electrodip on your farm, and is it a thing worth buying or is it not?
Yes, we do have one on our farm, and I reckon it's very good because the sheep, well, maybe at the start they get a bit blocked up, get a bit scared. As soon as the first one goes through, they love it. They just go straight through, nice and easy, very quick, real good.
That's great. Do you think they're hard to assemble? Hard to assemble the dipping machines, or do you have one that is built into the ground?
No, not hard at all. They come assembled. It's just put on the wheels, just so that you can wheel it onto a trailer, take it out into the paddock or something, put it into the yards, put it into wherever you want. Nice and easy. Just fill it up with the chemicals, do the mixing, turn it on, and it's good to go.
What kind of parasites are we targeting when we dip these sheep?
In like New Zealand and Australia, it's just like blowfly, lice, and things. So, yeah.
Nice. Thank you for letting me interview you today, and I'll take all this into notice.
Oh, that's alright.
In conclusion, after all the questions I have asked today, it has all come out that jetting and electrodips are very safe for the sheep and that everyone wants them. They are quite expensive and they're really easy to set up. They come assembled and they're great machines to have. From the guy who made them, he also said that it's a lot better than the old ones because the old ones were in the ground and the dip was always getting used, and the dip that came out of the electrodip is fresh. So thank you guys for listening to my podcast today about electrodips.
My name is Justin Liu, and I've investigated how friends affect your personality.
Friends play a powerful role in shaping who we are, from the way we think to the choices we make every day. We often begin to think like our friends. A personality is a set of thoughts, feelings, and behaviours that make each person distinct. This raises the question, would your personality be different if you chose different friends, and why?
I think my personality is incredibly dependent on who I am and the person I want to be. I feel that some of my friends have different personalities and there's other characteristics that they carry that I may not. But if I were to have quieter friends, there could be a higher possibility of me being more laid back and more casual than what I currently am.
Olivia feels that her personality is extremely dependent on who she is and the person she wants to be. But if she were to have different friends who are quieter, there could be a high possibility of her being more laid back.
I think I've chosen friends who are similar to me, but at the same time, events and things could happen between you and your friend that could definitely shape you both, and you could become closer from that. But you don't necessarily pick who you want to be friends with. You kind of just become friends with people who you share the same personality traits with, or who you are like the most.
Olivia feels that friendships often form naturally between people with similar personalities, but shared experiences over time can deepen those bonds, shaping individuals and influencing who they become. I then asked if she thought having supportive friends could improve confidence and mental well-being.
Yeah, I think supportive friends can really help your confidence and mental well-being. If you have friends who are kind and cheer you on, it can make you feel happier and more brave to try new things. When you're having a bad day, they can help you feel better and remind you that you're not alone. Good friends make you feel included, cared about, and proud of yourself, which can help you believe in yourself more.
Olivia feels supportive friends boost your confidence and mental health, helping you feel happier, braver, less alone, and more able to believe in yourself. I interviewed Christ College counsellor Shalita von Moore. I asked her if she thinks people choose friends who are similar to them, or do friends shape who they become?
Yes, I think both of these are true. I think we're naturally drawn to people that have similar values and interests. I also think that being around people with similar perspectives kind of creates a sense of comfort and understanding, which helps friendships develop easier and a little bit quicker.
Shalita highlights how shared similarities help form friendships in the first place.
But I also do think that the friends that we are around the most do contribute to shaping who we become, and that's especially during like your teenage phase, where kind of fitting in and where you're a bit more worried about what your social groups are doing and how to act and how to behave and how to fit in and belong.
Linking in to the next question on peer pressure and how it can be so powerful, especially for young people.
I think for young people, because of the age and stage that you're in, between the ages of 12 to 18, so they do tend to worry about acceptance and fitting in.
This shows how social pressure becomes a major part of teenage life.
Also, what contributes to that is your brains aren't fully developed yet. So the part of your brain that helps with decision making hasn't fully formed.
This explains why teenagers may be more influenced by others.
Because it hasn't fully formed, you may be more inclined to be influenced in behaving in ways that you probably wouldn't usually.
Now, moving on to the mental side of things, do you think having supportive friends can improve your confidence and well-being?
Yes, absolutely. I think the people that we surround ourselves with have a huge impact on how we feel and how we see ourselves. If you kind of have a supportive group who uplifts you and encourages you, it kind of gives you space to, one, make mistakes and be okay with that and dust yourself off and get back up and going again. But also helps you reflect on your strengths and your potentials in life. And having supportive friends around when you are going through hard times is also helpful because their emotional support.
This connects to how friends influence our mental health.
Helps our mental health because it helps prevent or decrease anxiety, feelings of loneliness, provides, I guess, a bit of emotional balance.
I talked to Christ's College psychology teacher, Miss Ginny Patterson, to get another view on how peer pressure can be so powerful, especially for young people.
Well, in my experience, it is to do with your environment, so how your environment shapes your personality, but the way you act and the way you think. So if you have negative influences, that will negatively influence the way that you think or feel about things. It's very much to do with how you process things. Like if someone is saying, right, let's go and do some vaping, and you appraise that and you think beforehand and you go, hang on a minute, I want to get into a top sports team, and then I don't want to do some vaping, and then you can actually make good decisions because of the role models around you.
Ms. Patterson states that your environment shapes how you think and act, and positive role models lead to better decisions, while negative influences can harm your mindset and choices. I then asked her if she thought people choose friends who are similar to them, or do friends shape who they become.
I think initially it's a bit of both, but I think that as you get older, you don't choose your friends. They tend to maybe gravitate towards you, or there might be circumstances, like for example you might have children and it might be the parents of your children's friends. Initially you choose your friends, and then I think that later on they choose you. I think then friends shape who they become.
Do you think having supportive friends can improve your confidence and mental well-being?
Definitely, 100%. All the studies I've read are social support is one of the key motivators for people to do something better about their own poor mental health.
To wrap up, different perspectives show that both ideas are important when it comes to personality and friendships. People are often drawn to others who share similar traits, values and interests, which helps friendships develop easier. At the same time, these friendships can continue to influence behaviour, thinking and confidence over time, especially during the teenage years when fitting in and finding identity matters the most. Experiences, environments and the type of support within friendships all play a role. This suggests that personality is shaped by a mix of personal choice and social influence, rather than one or the other.
Hi, I'm Teo and I've investigated different training and coaching styles for rugby.
Kia ora, my name is Peter Goldsmith. I've had the pleasure of coaching Teo from a very young age, right through his junior years. Question 1, how would you describe your coaching and training style? My coaching style is very positive, especially at a young age. My main goal is for them to have fun. Building a strong foundation and a strong culture within our teams is the main thing. So it's easy for parents to get their kids to train in, to the game. It doesn't feel like it's a hassle, and the kids are leaving training feeling like they've been seen and feeling confident in themselves that they are part of the team and they can offer something to the team even if they're not as experienced as others. Question 2, what are the key principles that guide the way you run your trainings? I've always incorporated my 4 pillars, not just in sports but outside of sports, in life in general. I try to implement these 4 pillars and principles to our kids in every training sessions, and that is work ethic, attitude, communication and confidence. I find those 4 things are the most crucial things in life, and if you nail those on the head, everything should be a lot easier to you when time gets tough. And me implementing those in the trainings is always working hard off the ball, not just attacking and catching the ball and passing the ball. It's working off the ball, working for your teammates, the confidence to pass that ball, to run that ball, to catch that ball, and the communication to talk to your next teammates, talk to everyone else, and use your voice. And attitude is massive. Attitude is respecting your teammates, respecting your coaches who give up their time, respecting the referee on the game day. Those are the 4 things I implement in all my trainings, all my teams. Third and final question, how do you ensure that what players learn at training translates into performance on game day? I feel like if I implement those 4 pillars and principles into every training session, game day should be the easiest day of the week. My training schedules are quite hard. They involve a lot of fitness, a lot of conditioning, but a lot of training under fatigue as well. I get them to a point where the kids are fatigued mentally, and then we start doing our game plan, our skill sessions, all the little stuff that goes out the window when you're tired on game day. So when they come game day and they're fatigued and they're tired, the communication's still there, the confidence still there, the work ethic's still there, and the attitude's still there.
Hello, my name is Pieter van der Merwe, and I'm a first 15 coach for a school in Cape Town, South Africa. Okay, so the first question is, how would you describe your coaching style and what experiences have shaped? For me, my coaching style is demanding, but player-centered. I come from a strong rugby culture in Cape Town where discipline, hard work and accountability are non-negotiable. But at the same time, I believe players perform best when they understand the purpose behind what they are doing. Over the years, coaching first 15 rugby has taught me that every group is different. Some teams need more structure and some need more confidence and some need strong leadership. My experiences working with talented schoolboy as well as those who had to earn everything through hard work have shaped my approach. I focus on building good people first because when they develop good character, resilience and trust, the rugby performance follows. What are the key principles that guide the way you design and run your training sessions? For me, every training session must have purpose and intensity. I do not believe in training just to fill time. Firstly, the session must align with how we want to play on Saturday. Secondly, it must challenge decision-making under pressure because rugby is a game of moments. Thirdly, I want players to compete in training because competition brings out standards and reveals character. I also place a big emphasis on fundamentals. No matter how talented a player is, pass, catch, run, tackle, body position and communication remain critical for me. Finally, I make sure there is progression throughout the week so players build confidence and clarity as we move towards game day. How do we ensure that what players learn on training translate into performance on game day? I think personally the biggest mistake coaches make is creating a training environment that looks nothing like the match. I believe transfer happens when training reflects the speed, pressure and decision-making demands of the game. Players must learn to solve problems, not simply follow instructions. We also review performance regularly using video analysis and player discussions so that learning becomes a continuous process. Throughout the week, we reinforce the same messages and standards until they become habits. By the time Saturday arrives, the players are not trying something new. They are simply executing what they have already experienced repeatedly under realistic conditions.
How would I best describe my coaching and training style? Enjoyable as a coach. I want to create that positive environment where our boys, they love being at training twice a week, but also keeping it challenging, and difficult for them at the same time. I always tell them I want them to train as if they were playing on the weekend. That way, if they're doing that, I know they're working hard together, they're training hard, and that best prepares us for our game that coming weekend. What are the key principles that help me guide the way I run my trainings? Clear communication, simple and clear so the boys aren't getting confused or lost. Creating a positive environment, encouraging those efforts they're putting in, celebrating the improvements, building the confidence, in every player in those areas that they're lacking. Positive energy and enthusiasm. As a coach, we definitely set the tone for trainings. So if we're giving out positive energy, we're going to get that back from the kids. We give out negative energy, you're going to get that back. Coach being positive, that's a big thing for me, and I like to finish every training, on a high. A fun game or a drill that the boys like to compete against each other with. Once that game or drill's done, everyone's smiling, laughing, everyone's all happy. And yeah, as a coach, that's one thing I want to ensure is that all the players leave the field or their training session in a good mood, and that way I know everyone's keen to come back. How do you ensure what players learn at training translate into performance in game day? For me, that's simple. Just reps on reps on reps. With anything, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Two things we do at trainings. We always do a fitness block. You can't coach fitness, so that's important. And tackling technique. So just getting our boys confident in their tackling area, confident in their ability to tackle. Let's be honest, if you're not confident, you're not going to tackle. It's as simple as that. So every training we're going over fitness and tackling technique just to build confidence in those areas, get nice and fit. If you're nice and fit, you're going to have a clear mind, clear thinking, and that helps going into that contact area. It's definitely tough on the body, mentally and physically. So being confident in your ability in that contact area is massive, and it just means our kids aren't going to go in scared or not confident in their ability, and when that happens, that's when injuries happen.
Hi, I'm Leo Liu. I've done an investigation on the usage of devices in the classroom in New Zealand and their impacts on the learning outcome of students.
Hello, I'm Leo Liu, a Year 10 student from Christ's College, and today I will be talking about the growing dependence on technology in schools and the impacts that it may have on the learning of students. For this investigation, I interviewed Joe Eccleton, the headmaster of Christ's College, a boys-only high school in New Zealand. Emmy Ma, a former teacher, and Hui Hui Su, another teacher. Today, New Zealand has one of the world's highest rates of youth screen use in the world, both in and out of school. And although New Zealand's government has so far been enthusiastic about the adoption and integration of technology into the classroom, concerns have been raised about the effects that widespread technology use may have on children's educational and mental development. I questioned my interviewees about whether or not they thought that computer use in schools was broadly beneficial for students.
Again, I think going back to the first question, it really depends how they are using their computers. If they are using their computers to substitute for their own critical thinking, like if they're using AI, so they're actually not critically thinking and evaluating information, then yes, I think that is an issue. Look, I think there are definitely pros and cons of having computers in the classroom. And ultimately, I think that the second part of that question is, do you think the pros outweigh the cons? I think I think the pros do outweigh the cons. So I think it is important to have computers, but we just need to use them wisely and effectively.
For question one, in my opinion, computers have improved learning by giving students quick access to information, interactive resources, and also provide instant feedback. Actually, I think they can increase engagement and support different learning needs. But however, technology works best when it complements effective learning rather than just replacing it.
While researchers seem to agree that a medium amount of device use can be broadly beneficial for students, there's a consensus that a high amount of device use, that is anywhere above 2 hours a day, is actually detrimental to students' learning. A 2016 study by the Reboot Society in the United States showed that while those who spent around an hour a day on their devices for school time for educational purposes performed higher academically than those who spent either more than an hour a day or no time at all. Those who spent a high amount of time on their devices during school time, that is, anything between an hour or more, showed a marked decrease in their test scores, especially in reading, where some even saw a 3 to 4 year recession on their scores. This is correlated with data from all over the world, where studies have found that there is a significant drop in reading comprehension and literacy levels, with a strong correlation to the amount of time spent on devices at school. I asked my interviewees about whether or not they thought that computers were decreasing the productivity of students at school.
I think computers can decrease the productivity of the students if they're not used effectively in the classroom. And so I think it's not so much about whether computers are used or not. It's actually how we use the computers and what type of programs we're using. Ultimately, the most important thing for our boys in the classroom is that they are developing the cognitive skills to be able to think clearly and appropriately about whatever subject matter they have in front of them.
Digital devices very destructive sometimes, and excessive screen time, technical issues, and so on. So, in my opinion, teachers need clear expectation to ensure device support learning.
If they use computer for games or social media in class, that can be very destructive, and it's so easy to find answers and information on computers if the students they rely too much on devices instead of instead of developing problem solving or memory skills.
Concerns have also been raised that students are substituting real life connections for digital ones, and that device use during school time, and in particular the morning tea and lunch breaks, is stopping students from making meaningful connections in the real world, and instead causing them to spend that time on their devices. I asked my interviewees about what they felt about students becoming distracted on their devices at school.
I find most of my students, after a long holiday or weekend, I found most of them very tired due to excessive or too much time on digital devices, but not for learning, but for gaming. But however, I don't think we should remove them completely. Instead, schools should aim for a balance between digital learning and traditional activities. So devices should be used when they genuinely improve our learning and our teaching.
I think school can be a place in which they form really important connections. They can develop really positive relationships, and they can develop those interpersonal skills that we know are so important. Being stuck on devices limits that ability to develop those interpersonal skills.
And so overall, using computers in classroom is important, has mostly positive side, but there should be rules, should be boundaries, actually both in classroom and at home.
What I've managed to conclude from this experience is that as we head into the 21st century and the new age of technology, we should be careful to keep a fine balance between screen time and excessive device use. And that while technology can still be of a massive benefit to us, we should make sure not to spend too much time on them and also pay attention to its drawbacks.